Hey everybody, welcome back to IP Farms. Well, it's another beautiful day on the farm here. It's hot, it's in the 80s, it feels like summertime, but anyway, that's another story. Back on the service truck here, finally got all the parts and pieces in that I needed. The main missing link still is the drive shaft, but that's not going to stop us from cranking it. So I promised you guys I'd bring you along for the starting of the truck. Since you followed me from the very beginning, you know, good, bad, ugly, might crank it up and something go haywire, but we got all the parts in here behind me, the fuel pump. I went and got oil and filter and everything for the engine transmission. I got a transfer pump here from Harbor Freight. I'm gonna try to get that fuel out of the tank. So what I'm gonna attempt to do today is get the fuel drained out of the tank, get the pump on it, get the tank back up, bolted where it needs to be, get all the heat shields back on, get the exhaust under it. I showed you that in another video. I might bring you along for a few clips of that. And if all that goes well, then hopefully we can go ahead and put some motor oil and transmission fluid in it and put a battery in it and see what happens. I've got one other, this piece here in the floor. This is the shifter boot assembly that goes in the floor. I showed you the plate that comes out. The other truck had this, the screws were rusted off, couldn't get it out. These were cheap, so I just went ahead and got a new one. So all I've got to do really is just cut the floor mat out for the hole for the shifter and put that up. But again, I don't have the front drive shaft in it, don't have the rear one. We're not going to be driving it yet, but we're gonna see if we can do a startup. So this video doesn't get too long with the clips and everything else. You know, I might wait and do it when I get the drive shaft. If not, we'll just, you know, call this one good with getting it running and all the major fabrication that I had to do, switching everything over, and then we'll do a video when it pulls out of the shop on its own power, hooking up to a trailer to haul this old rust bucket down the road. Stay tuned. Well, I thought I'd show you this. It's working pretty good. I'm sure it won't last. But we're on our 25th gallon right now of gas coming out of the tank. If I get the switch cut on, and there we go, it's pumping. I think I'll get this one out and then I'll look down in the tank and see how much more. I mean, I don't know, it might be a 35 gallon, something like that. It was slam full. So anyway, so I'll show you that. Works good. Wish I had, you know, a piece of hose I could just put it outside, but I can't be in two places at one time, so we're just getting her out 5 gallons at a time. Well, that's an expensive unit sitting on the floor right there. I keep scratching around trying to find the gold in it. It's painted black. They do say black gold, but I haven't found it yet. But anyway, driveline man called. We got that. Everything looks good. He had trouble with the back tube there. I ended up having to put a new one in it. The other one was bent. It wouldn't balance out. So I'm glad he did that. A little more expensive than what I anticipated, but we've got it. So got the back drive shaft there, or the front drive shaft for the bush hog in the background there. I'm going to have to build that myself. That finger in the screen, that tube there, it's got like roller bearings in it. They're all gone. You know, it's beyond that, so it's not just the yoke up here that broke. I'm gonna have to build a different tube. I did end up having to cut the side one off that was twisted so bad. Dropped it off to him. Let me see what he can do with that. He's a little disappointed in himself because he just built it last year, so I think I'm gonna get a break on that, thank goodness. But we'll do something with the front one. I can't afford to have him build that front one complete again. So nothing wrong with the front part up there, it's just the back part. So we were able to get the tank in the truck. Everything's plumbed up, lines hooked back up, pumps in it. Now we've got to put the heat shields up there, get those back up, get this section of pipe on there with the converter, and get ready to mate those back up with the factory clamps. And then that should take care of the exhaust. And now that we got the drive line, get it in there and bolted up, and that'll take care of everything under the truck except for the hitch. So I'm not sure if I'll have time today or not, but I'll definitely put it on this video. So we're going to crank this unit up, or attempt to crank it up rather, and see what happens. And if it runs, then it'll pull out of the shop under its own power for the first time. We don't need the front drive shaft yet. Stay tuned. Okay, we probably can't see too good, but I thought I'd show you everything bolted up. Right here, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but right here is the connection that I used. So I was able to get a piece of this pipe off of the original rusty one, and then get this piece out where they hacked the converter off and join those back up. So I bolted everything up front to the Y pipe, and then I had all the hangers loose under here messing with the fuel pump, and was able to slide it back far enough and get that started in there and get it twisted up, and then put all the hangers back. So everything's good and solid, and it's basically factory Ford exhaust. And I don't know if you can see the tailpipe coming out just like it's supposed to. Okay, let's get the drive line in now. Thought I'd show you that since I've talked about it several times. I'm tickled with that. Didn't have to worry about any kind of welding or anything. All right, well, I promised you guys I'd bring you along for it to first start up. Got late yesterday afternoon, and we're calling for some storms today, and I just couldn't stand it. The camera battery was dead. I fired it up for just a second or two, just to make sure everything was good. I did not have power steering fluid in it. I forgot that, or actually the transmission fluid that goes in there. So I didn't run it but just a few minutes. So not going to be the technical first start up. It did fire up right off the bat. I had no issues whatsoever. So far I don't have any leaks. So we're going to crank it up now, let it run for a few minutes on camera here. Not a minutes, but a few seconds. And then if everything goes well, we'll get her pulling out of the shop, and we might make us a round down in the bottom with a new service truck. And that runs good. Well, it's out of the shop under its own power. A few small things left to do. I'll detail that here in a minute. But we're gonna make a round down the bottom. First time a new service truck's gonna hit the fields. Apologize if you hear that in the background. I have the AC blowing. It is about 86 degrees here. That's why I went through all the trouble to make sure I didn't have to worry about charging that up. And I'm telling you what, it is cold. So let's take us a ride right quick down in the bottom and see what happens before the rain comes in, because we don't have four-wheel drive yet. All right, well, the camera's probably gonna be a little shaky. I got you on the rear view mirror mount there, but we're headed down. Like I said, I gotta get this finished up before it starts raining, because I don't think I can get back up the hill here. But everything's good. Oil pressure's good. Alternator's charging. Like I said, 3/4 of a tank of fuel. The fuel pump was the issue. The old one was just crudded up. Let's see, the temperature gauge is not working in the truck, and I knew that was going to be an issue. That was the only difference in the two wiring harnesses excuse me, with the two trucks was this motor, or this intake that was on the motor in this truck, had a coolant temperature sending unit, and the motor that I put in here supposedly gets the coolant temperature off of the cylinder head temperature. Difference in 2000, 2004. So I'm not sure if I'm going to try to piggyback the wiring and put it in the factory pin to make this gauge work, or there's a little spot here on the dash I'll show you in a minute that I might just put me a mechanical gauge. But you know, I don't think we have any issues. We've got a bunch of these trucks that work with the horrendous fan they have in them and fan shroud. They're not going to run hot, so I mean, I'm not going to go down the road with it until then. But we're driving. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I mean, we still got a road to hoe yet to get it completely on the road, but look how bad the fields are. I mean, they're awful. It has given me such a complex to spend as much time as I have up here doing everything that I've done, and to watch this grass grow like that. But it is what it is. If it's not too rough, let me take you over here and I'll show you where I messed the bush hog up, just so you guys will know, while we're enjoying our little cruise this afternoon. You can actually hear me over the truck this time. Right there is the demise of the bush hog. Fingering the screen. This is a little natural waterway that I've told you about before. Of course, that cedar tree is right in the way, so I was kind of running on the edge of that and went up the bank right there, and you can see where the bush hog blades hit the dirt right there. I mean, I can't believe that slip clutch didn't break free with that before it destroyed everything else, but lessons learned. So didn't get much accomplished, and you can see the grass here. Pull up a little bit. I can almost touch the tops of it, so you know it's bad. I wish this place was a little smoother and I could find somebody to make hay on it, but it is what it is. But it's not about the fields today. It's about the service truck. Everything looks good. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not. Probably not. But like I said, temperature gauge is the only thing. But I'll tell you what, I'm tickled to death about that. Can you hear that? I know you can't feel it, but boy, I sure can. That is so nice. Okay, everybody, sorry about the sweat. It's hot. Had to cut the fans off so you can hear me. I believe we're gonna wrap this one up and call it good on the service truck. It's complete, all but a few minor small details, but it's running and moving and pulling under its own power. You saw it come out of the shop. That was the first drive I'd had in it, the first major run of it. I apologize I didn't get you for the very first startup, but again, I had no issues whatsoever. Hit the switch, I cycled the pump a couple of times, and it fired right up. The only thing that was an issue was the serpentine belt was on the wrong grooves on the pulleys. It was making a little bit of a noise. I didn't even crank it back up after that yesterday. It just moved them over where they needed to be, and everything's good. So I swept the floor in the shop today and see if I got any kind of leaks. I don't see anything. I've got to figure out the temperature gauge pretty quick. It ran for probably an hour here this afternoon without cutting it off. Cut it off, fired right back up. So I believe we're good. A few minor details here or there. The front drive shaft is not a push. The hitch in the bed is not necessarily a huge push. I don't even have the trailer fixed yet. It's got a receiver hitch on it to pull the car trailer, so we will be heading down the road here before too long with the old rust bucket out there with it. But hopefully you've enjoyed the journey with me. I've tried to detail as much as I possibly could, throughout the course of the whole build, from the 2 to 4-wheel drive swap, the motor swap, transmission, taking 2 and making 1. Pennies on the dollar. Don't have a whole lot of money in this. If anybody is really interested in cost factor of it, of course if you find trucks cheaper, but as far as parts and pieces, I'll be glad to divulge that in email or whatever the case may be. But rest assured that a truck like this here in North Carolina, believe me, I've looked at them, I'm just going to say that I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 or $6,000 less than what I could buy a comparable truck this year model here in North Carolina for, so that gives you any kind of idea. Really appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for the support. Hopefully you've enjoyed the journey. I'll throw some tidbits and some highlights here or there on the truck, but there won't be any more, I don't think, complete truck build videos, because fingers crossed everything continues to work out like it's supposed to. So really appreciate everybody being here. Really means a lot to me. I'm not sure next what's on the major agenda. We got to get the plow situated, but I really got to get this bush hog going. That really gave me a complex going down in the field this afternoon looking at how bad the grass was. But that's another story for another day. Till next time, thank you.